they would be very comfortable with Paige Bueckers as the face of the league.
Something doesn't add up in the WNBA right now. Caitlin Clark, the biggest draw in women's basketball history, the rookie who just broke attendance records and ignited a billion-dollar conversation about the league's future, has been sidelined for weeks. The official word? A string of nagging injuries. Quad, groin, ankle, bone bruise, you name it. But here's the problem. The timeline doesn't make sense. The updates don't make sense. And the silence? That's the loudest part of all. Meanwhile, out of nowhere, we're seeing the league push a different narrative. Paige Bueckers dropping 44 points. Media outlets suddenly hyping her up as the next face of the league. Whispers that she's the safe replacement for Clark. Is this really just about injuries? Or is there something deeper? A secret plan to quietly move Caitlin aside and slide Paige into her spotlight?
She scored 44 points last night. Players have been complaining. She's got a special whistle. They feel like the league is trying to lean into Paige Bueckers because she fits the profile of what they want.
Tonight, we're digging into the Caitlin Clark injury saga that has gone from confusing to downright suspicious. We'll break down the timeline of her setbacks, the bizarre way the Fever and WNBA have handled updates, and why fans are starting to feel like they're being strung along. Then we'll look at the Paige Bueckers hype machine. Is it coincidence or calculated? We'll dive into what this means for the league, for Nike, for the Fever, and most importantly, for Caitlin Clark herself. Because if the WNBA really is testing a future without Clark as their face, that changes everything. But before we dive all the way in, let me ask you, do you think the WNBA is hiding something about Caitlin Clark's absence? Or is this just bad luck and bad timing? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And hey, if you love deep dives like this, smash that like button, subscribe to Her Hoops, and join our community where we break down the stories nobody else will touch.
Hey, 2 weeks ago, Caitlin Clark suffered another injury, and go run around and talk about that. Quit. Don't talk about what Skip Bayless has put on the table. Don't. Robin Lundberg is saying that, we're owed an explanation, so let's feed you these breadcrumbs.
To understand how we got here, we need to rewind the tape, because Caitlin Clark's second WNBA season hasn't just been unlucky, it's been chaotic. Let's break down the injury timeline. May 3rd, Caitlin misses the Fever's exhibition opener with left leg soreness. Nothing too major, just preseason, but still, it raised eyebrows. May 26th, a left quad sprain takes her out of 5 games. Suddenly, the Fever are without their floor general, and fans are asking questions. June 26th, another setback. This time, a left groin sprain. 4 more games gone. By now, the whispers start. Why does Clark keep getting hurt? July 15th, a right groin sprain. The other side now. She's sidelined yet again. And if you're counting at home, that's 3 different injuries in less than 3 months. August 7th, this is the big one. During a workout, Caitlin suffers a left ankle bone bruise. No game footage, no clear explanation. Just another cryptic update that pushes her return further into the unknown.
I want to walk through the Caitlin Clark timeline, guys. Can we put that up? Caitlin Clark has missed 22 regular season games. On May 3rd, left leg soreness, missed the exhibition opener. May 26th, left quad sprain, missed 5 games. June 26th, left groin sprain, missed 4 games. July 15th, right groin sprain, remains sidelined. August 7th, left ankle bone bruise during a workout.
In total, Clark has already missed 22 regular season games. That's not just bad luck, that's half a season gone. And here's the kicker. Despite all the injuries, Clark has been spotted doing things that make the sidelined label feel strange. Signing autographs, walking arenas, even kicking around a soccer ball with teammates. She's visible, she's active, just not playing.
5 weeks, no discussion with the media. Caitlin Clark doesn't mind talking to the media. Caitlin Clark's been traveling with the Indiana Fever, standing on her feet, signing autographs for fans. There's been video of her kicking a soccer ball. She's been doing physical activity. There have been reports. She's doing some full court running. She's close to this, she's close to that. And now from out of nowhere, looks like she may never play this season.
Mini hook. If Caitlin Clark is healthy enough to travel, healthy enough to engage with fans, and even do some light running, then why is she still in street clothes on the sidelines? This is where the frustration really builds, because fans aren't asking for her private medical records. They just want honesty. They want clarity. But what they've gotten instead? Mixed messages, shifting timelines, and a cloud of confusion that feels like it's been carefully manufactured. Here's the thing. Injuries happen. Every athlete knows that. Fans know that. A quad sprain, a groin pull, even a bone bruise, they're all part of the grind of professional basketball.
Every picture had been painted that Caitlin Clark would return this season, and now most people believe it's not going to happen. Why has this all been so mysterious? Why? I can't think of. I saw something over on Twitter where someone said Brady had some kind of pinky injury or some sort of hand injury with Belichick one year, and they kept it a secret.
But what makes the Caitlin Clark situation different is not the injuries themselves, it's the way they've been handled. Think about it. On August 12th, ESPN's broadcast team said Fever coach Stephanie White hoped Clark would be back in practice that week. Teammates like Natasha Howard were hinting, "See you soon, CC," almost teasing that her return was imminent. Even Ryan Ruocco, the voice of the WNBA, was on record saying the league had mapped out games where Clark's comeback would likely happen, maybe against Minnesota or Seattle.
And now here's Ryan Ruocco, the voice of the WNBA play-by-play on ESPN, talking about it on August 12th. Play the clip.
Where they have the week off is where Stephanie White reiterated to us today she's hoping Caitlin Clark returns to practice.
All the signs pointed to one thing. Caitlin Clark was close, really close, and then silence. Instead of ramping up, the updates went dark. Instead of Clark rejoining practice, we got vague lines like status quo from Coach White. Instead of optimism, we got uncertainty. Mini hook. What changed? What happened between "see you soon" and "we have no timeline"? Fans started to notice the contradictions. One reporter swore Clark's ankle setback was real. Another said it wasn't. One outlet claimed she was sprinting full court. Another said she wasn't cleared. Even the Fever's own messaging felt scrambled, like they were all reading from different scripts. And this is where the core problem emerges. The lack of transparency has turned a routine injury into a full-blown mystery. It's not just about basketball anymore. It's about trust. Fans don't know what to believe. Media doesn't know what to report. And most damaging of all, Caitlin Clark's star power, the very thing that has carried the WNBA into record-breaking territory, is being chipped away by doubt and confusion. Because here's the truth. When your league's most valuable player isn't on the court, fans expect clarity. They expect urgency. They expect reassurance that their star will return. Instead, the WNBA has left them with a giant question mark.
Why the mystery around Caitlin Clark? Why have they orchestrated and maneuvered things in a way that have totally demolished Caitlin Clark's second season? And that includes, this isn't just about injuries. Hey, those are injuries, that's bad luck. They constructed a bad team around Caitlin Clark.
And now, the conspiracy whispers are getting louder. Is this really just a string of unfortunate injuries? Or is there a deliberate effort to push Clark to the side while another star steps into her place? Let's be clear. Caitlin Clark isn't just another injured player. She's not a role player you can replace with a bench guard. She is the engine driving the WNBA right now. When Clark stepped onto the floor last year, everything changed. Attendance skyrocketed. The Fever alone shattered the all-time WNBA record with over 600,000 fans showing up to their games this season. TV ratings exploded. Networks like ESPN saw jumps of over 300% compared to pre-Clark broadcasts. Merchandise sales off the charts. Clark's jersey outsold every player in the league combined in stretches, and Nike is banking entire marketing campaigns on her brand. This is why the stakes are so high, because when Clark isn't playing, that momentum slows. Fans who bought tickets months in advance to see her, disappointed. TV networks who scheduled primetime Fever games, frustrated. Sponsors banking on the Clark effect, nervous. Mini hook. This isn't just about missed games. It's about missed dollars, missed growth, and missed opportunity at a time when the WNBA is finally breaking through. And here's the scary part. If Caitlin Clark doesn't return this season, the league risks undoing much of the progress she sparked. Casual Casual fans, the ones who bought in because of Clark's magic, might tune out. The Fever could slide further down the standings, wasting another year of her rookie contract. And rival leagues, rival investors, even rival players could swoop in to claim the spotlight. Historically, we've seen this movie before. Remember when Derrick Rose, at just 23 years old, won MVP and was supposed to be the future of the NBA? Multiple injuries later, he was never the same, and the league had to pivot its marketing away from him. The WNBA cannot afford that with Caitlin Clark. And yet, the longer this silence stretches, the more it feels like the league is already bracing for that possibility. Already thinking, if Clark can't go, who becomes the new face? And that's where the Paige Bueckers conversation gets very, very interesting. So, if Caitlin Clark is sidelined, whether for the rest of this season or longer, the question becomes, who fills that void? And lately, all signs are pointing in one direction: Paige Bueckers. Now let's be fair, Paige is no random name. She was a superstar at UConn, dubbed Paige Buckets for a reason. She has the resume, the highlight reels, and the college following. But here's the thing, just when Caitlin Clark's absence became more mysterious, Paige exploded back into the national conversation. She drops a 44-point game, and suddenly media outlets are running. Nike and ESPN push features that feel suspiciously timed, like they're teeing her up as the next one, and whispers start circulating that Paige fits the profile of what the league wants in its new marketing face. Mini hook, coincidence or calculation? Because when you look at it from a league optics perspective, Paige checks a lot of boxes. She's young, she's already got corporate backing, she has a clean image, a massive social media following, and a style of play that's flashy enough for highlights but safe enough for mainstream appeal. And then there's the identity politics layer. Some in the media have openly said the league is more comfortable with a star who aligns with their preferred image, whether that's Paige Bueckers, A'ja Wilson, or another established veteran. The suggestion is that Clark, despite her undeniable star power, doesn't fit the brand vision the league wants long-term. If that's true, if there's even a hint of truth, then the WNBA isn't just waiting out an injury. They're actively preparing for life beyond Clark. And look, rivals have options too. The Fever can try to reshape their roster around Kelsey Mitchell, Nalissa Smith, or even new draft picks. The league can double down on A'ja Wilson and the Aces as their dynasty storyline.
A'ja Wilson fits the profile. Black woman, angry, Marxist mentality. Seems to be dating an NBA player, Bam. But who knows? They'd be comfortable with her as the face of the league. Nike's thrown a lot of money trying to make her something she's not. A superstar shoe sales pitch person. She's not.
Nike can redirect their marketing budget, but none of those options carry the same weight as Paige Bueckers stepping in as the next Caitlin Clark. Mini hook. And that raises the uncomfortable question, is Paige being lifted up naturally, or is she being positioned as Clark's replacement by design? Here's the thing, injuries don't just affect a player physically, they ripple through the entire locker room. And with Caitlin Clark, that ripple has turned into a wave. Think about it from her teammates' perspective. They're showing up every night, battling through a grueling schedule, and the entire time there's this cloud of uncertainty. Is Caitlin coming back, or are we on our own? One day they hear Stephanie White say Clark is close to returning. The next, silence. One practice, Clark is seen running sprints. The next, she's nowhere to be found. That kind of inconsistency doesn't just confuse the media, it drains the locker room. Players want clarity. They want to know the plan. And then there's the pressure, because every single Fever player knows this. With Caitlin Clark in the lineup, eyes are on them. They get exposure, endorsement opportunities, highlight reels, even all-star buzz. Without Clark, the spotlight dims. The Fever return to being just another rebuilding team fighting for attention in a crowded sports landscape. And imagine being Caitlin herself. She's a competitor, wired to play, and now she's sidelined while whispers swirl about Paige Bueckers taking her crown. That's not just physical rehab she's battling, that's mental warfare, doubt, frustration, maybe even even anger at how her situation is being communicated to the public. Behind closed doors, you can bet there are conversations. Veterans wondering if the franchise is protecting their star or protecting their brand. Younger players questioning their roles. Coaches trying to hold the line while the noise outside gets louder. The locker room tension isn't just about when Caitlin returns. It's about whether the Fever can even hold together until she does. So, where does this all go? Let's lay out the scenarios. Outcome 1. The comeback. Caitlin Clark returns late this season or at the start of next, fully healthy, fully motivated, and ready to remind everyone why she's the most electric women's basketball player in the world. If this happens, the league's gamble backfires. Fans rally behind her even harder. The narrative becomes, you tried to bury her, but you couldn't. That kind of underdog comeback could make her an even bigger star. Outcome 2. The slow fade. Clark comes back, but she's never quite the same. The injuries linger, the pace of the WNBA wears her down, and the league quietly shifts its marketing to Paige Bueckers and Aja Wilson. In this future, Clark is still a name, but not the name. She becomes one of many, not the centerpiece. Outcome 3. The replacement. Caitlin stays out longer, maybe even the whole season. Paige Bueckers steps into the spotlight, dominates on the college stage, gets drafted, and the league hands her the torch. The narrative flips. Instead of Clark leading the new era, Paige becomes the chosen one. That doesn't erase Caitlin, but it sidelines her in a way that's hard to recover from. Mini hook. And here's the wild card. What if both shine at once? Outcome 4. The super era. Imagine Caitlin and Paige both healthy, both headlining teams, both pulling millions of fans into the WNBA. That's not just good for business, that's historic. Think Magic versus Bird, but for women's basketball. That could elevate the league in a way no marketing plan ever could. The truth is, every one of these outcomes hangs on a fragile timeline. Caitlin's health, Paige's rise, and the league's choices behind the curtain. So here's the question. Is the WNBA quietly moving on from Caitlin Clark before her story has even been written? Or is all of this just bad luck? A storm of injuries and miscommunication that looks more sinister than it really is? Because one thing is undeniable. Caitlin Clark changed women's basketball forever. And if Paige Bueckers is next in line, that could set the stage for one of the greatest rivalries we've ever seen. But ask yourself this: does the league really want both? Or do they only have room for one face of the future? Drop your take in the comments. Is this a setup to replace Caitlin Clark with Paige Bueckers? Or are fans reading too much into the mystery? Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Her Hoops for more deep dives, and stay tuned because this story is only just beginning.